Hello and welcome to a special Friday Live feature with Sarah from the Be Socially Academy. I am so glad that you have joined me today. I have got so much questions that I want to ask you, and I've even had some messages come in as well wanting to ask you questions. So I guess the first thing I want to ask you is, what is the Be Socially Academy and what made you decide to set it up?
So the Socially Savvy Academy is basically a monthly membership scheme for small business owners to really gain support and access to help them progress their social media. So I think for me, the main inspiration for me setting up the academy was when I initially launched my overall business, Be Socially Savvy. I was speaking to clients and customers, and people were saying, we really do want to do social media ourselves, but we want to learn it in a way that is not really spending thousands of pounds on courses, and they want to do it in their own time. So I went away really and I did some brainstorming, spoke to people, got feedback, and I just saw an opportunity to launch basically a membership scheme. So for me, it was very much about speaking to people and seeing how they would like to learn. So what I do within the academy is try and do a mixture of resources. So there is a Facebook group for people to post questions in there. There is downloadable resources. And I think the key thing for me was trying to make something which is almost bite-sized modules. So again, my main inspiration was trying to create something which small business owners are so busy, everybody's really busy. And it just provides an opportunity for people to log in maybe at night. They could do it in the morning. You know, there's 24 hours. People can log in whenever they want to. And I think it was just about consuming information in a digestible way, because social media, it can be overwhelming and there's so many resources out there. So for me, I just thought, why don't I launch something where there's monthly topics and just try and do something different, really? So it is a learning phase for me, but I do find that having an online platform with the Facebook group for support, it is there to support business owners, really.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I mean, I've had obviously been a look at it myself. So I also wanted to sort of pick up on the fact that you've got two schemes. You've got like a membership, and you've got the light. So what is the difference between the two? What do you get more of in one, and what is the target audience for the two?
Yeah, so the two offers, the first one, so the light membership, is very much focusing on, I suppose, the beginner to social media. I do try and develop the content for somebody who maybe hasn't really heard of every key term in social media, and is about trying to give people a monthly content plan. So within the light membership, people get access to the Facebook group. There will be a monthly topic. So for June, it has been about Instagram stories. And within that, I've uploaded templates that people can amend themselves, done tips within the Facebook group. So the light membership is, I suppose, giving people the basics of social media, the basics of Instagram, and then also offering opportunities. I did a few mini courses earlier in the year. So there was one on building engagement. And I tried to do it in a way which wasn't necessarily overloading people. Again, just short downloads that people can tap into, mini videos where people can just learn the gist, I suppose, of Instagram. And then the main premium membership, which is slightly more expensive, it is very much focusing, I suppose, on the overall strategy. So there are monthly topics in there, but it is about having some knowledge of social media and Instagram in particular, but also, I suppose, developing the strategy. So within the premium membership, it is very much about having, say, for example, if it was Instagram Reels, I'd do some training on how to create them, but also how to make Reels part of your strategy. And within the platform, there is a monthly Zoom call with group members. And for me, I think what is key is it is about building that community. So having people, I suppose it's not just me saying, oh, look at this resource, look at this resource. It's about asking questions, is there any topics that people want advice on? And allowing people network opportunities. So this is something which is key in the premium membership. Having people who, at the moment, we've got people who are proofreaders so they can support people with their captions. So it's not just necessarily me saying, buy my services. It's about saying, look who we have in the platform and offering the opportunities, because I think that's working in social media and in a small business, it can be lonely. So that is the main focus. What I've tried to do with both membership offers is make it a safe environment for people to learn. So going back to your main question, the light membership is for beginners and the premium membership is very much focusing. I suppose people get a bit more support from myself with the one-to-one coaching session, included the monthly Zoom calls, but also we dive deeper into your strategy. So why are you on Instagram? What do you want to achieve? And look at people's products and services. So I suppose there is a bit more content within that just to help people who have progressed their social media journey.
No, that's good. Thank you for explaining that, because obviously I've got a few different little streams myself. So trying to sort of get a likeness and a feel. And I think it's the same sort of thing as obviously the buzz is sort of like the community where people can ask questions and try and get support that way. Then obviously my hive is where I'm focusing on a theme per month. So if people want to learn about that particular topic and theme, then that's, you know, a good place to go. Coming up in the summer, I'm going to be doing like the YouTube type channel and put the bits on there for those that don't want to be on a lunchtime webinar format. So it's sort of growing. So yes, I can totally get the idea of what you're doing there and the target audience and stuff like that. So that's really good. And it's good to see that I'm following a model of delivery that is working, learning from the best, as they say. So that's great. Okay, one of the other questions I find I get asked a lot about learners introduced and being introduced to social media is there are so many platforms out there. How do you decide what platform are the best to use, and what made you focus on the ones that you've chosen for your delivery?
I think for me it's really crucial that when you are deciding on what platform to use, that you do your research prior. So it is very much about knowing who your target audience is. I think every business will be different, and not everybody will be on Facebook, not every business will be on Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn. And I think it can be overwhelming if you think, right, I need to post on Twitter, I need to post on Instagram, I need to post on Facebook, because it's not always possible and it's not always needed. So I think the advice that I can give is, before you decide which platform you want to do, really try and define your target audience. So look at your services and really think, so what age am I targeting? What gender am I targeting? What are their likes and interests? And I think once you've gathered that, you can think, right, targeting, say, for example, parents, the likelihood they will use Facebook. If you're targeting maybe the younger generation, chances are you need to be on Instagram and maybe TikTok. So I think there is quite a lot of background research, and that's where, when I initially started my business, I did have a Twitter account, but I soon realised that actually that platform is not useful for me. So I did primarily focus on Instagram, because people were saying, you know, Instagram's really taking off. There's so many new features with reels, with stories. I really want to focus on that. And that's where I just saw the opportunity to really offer the training sessions, the coaching sessions, because people didn't have the budget to spend thousands of pounds on agencies to do it. They were like, I want to do it myself. So that was just my research, speaking to people saying, well, you know, I could potentially launch a product here. So I think, again, it's very important not to get overwhelmed thinking that you need to be on every platform, because that can have the opposite effect. You can become, you know, you can maybe think, oh, well, I don't want to post anymore because I'm having to create content every day for every platform. So it is about trying and testing. You may think Instagram is for you and you post your content and you find, well, actually, Facebook is more, I'm getting more engagement from Facebook, so I'm going to focus on there. So again, maybe look at their analytics, go into Instagram, do they match up with who you think your target audience is, who you think your target buyer is, and just do some work around it, because I think it is a journey, but you do get there eventually to the point where you think, right, this is a platform I need to use, this is the content that people are responding to. You know, I've had times when I'm thinking, Facebook groups are really taking off, and then next week I might think, oh well, my engagement has been very low, and then the next week I stick with it, and it does creep up. So there will be times when engagement is lower, but my advice would be just to try and test things out and definitely just stick with it, because there is a platform for every product, every service, and it's just a case of sticking with it.
Yeah, no, thank you. That is really good. And that the tip that you said there about the niche and everything, I think that was, for me personally, one of the biggest struggles that I've had, because obviously with my teaching, it's all been including everybody. Everybody wants to learn, whereas with the business side, you're supposed to be trying to attract a target audience, and you can't actually try and cater for everybody. So that has actually been the real biggest struggle, I think, for me, in getting the wording right. And even until recently, it's still been an issue for me. When I thought it was sorted, and when you ask for feedback and you get told it isn't right, it's sort of trying to get that wording right. And I think it is a very difficult thing to try and to niche, and especially if you are trying to cover the audience.
Yeah, it can be hard, but I think like at the end of the day, like you work in your business, your business. So I think like it is very much just about, I suppose, like what I always do is like, if I get feedback off people, I can write it down, but then it is about what somebody says might not be like right all the time. So it is just about, I think, just taking it on board, and then just, I suppose one thing is like really important is like you've got to be happy with the content that you're creating. If somebody's saying to me, you need to be making a reel a day, but actually, every time I go to film, I'm not enjoying it, but I really enjoy like making static posts. I think it is just about, I suppose, enjoying the content, so that it keeps you happy and
Yeah, I think, and that I think is spot on as well, when we're talking about the time these things take to produce, and what you're able to do. And I think that is another a point, because I've seen a lot of to be doing reels and do in front of camera stuff and video, this, that, and the other. And at the moment, my mind just, I personally haven't found a way of doing that would work for me. And I've been also looking at a lot of the content that's out there and what's being posted, and I'm just thinking, yes, I like what they're doing, but it's not me. And that's when you also have to recognize your individuality. Just because everybody else is doing something doesn't mean to say that you're copying them. So when I'm seeing 20 odd posts or posts a day on doing the same thing on doing the same thing in Excel, on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, I'm thinking, why do I want to just join everybody else? So I've now looked at what isn't being done on the socials and thinking, well, why aren't they doing it? Because there is a need for that as well. So I'm actually going to start doing something slightly different in my own unique way, and tackle it that way. Whether it will work or not is another matter, but I think at least then I'm doing something that's content that's related to what I'm teaching.
Yeah, that's a really good point though that you make about following like the trends and things, because I think like that is quick and easy content, but in the long run it's not always going to help your business. Whereas like with your business, I do really like that you are different, and like you said, if reels at the minute are not for you, then that's absolutely fine, because the other things you're doing are working really well. And I have followed your journey, and it is really like inspiring to see like the different content that you're producing. And again, if you were to just like follow the trends all the time, then you can just blend in with everybody else, which is it is really important about the content. But there may be times when a reel might only get 50 views, but you could gain a client off that, where somebody gets 1 million views and actually it's a load of spam and nobody's like taking any notice of it. So I think it is like quality over quantity.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that's good. That's good to go. Well, I don't know if you're aware of it, but next month is going to be Wow Month. which is the Wonders of Word. And it's supposed to be a real new feature, raising the awareness of Word and all of the features that we need to know that we probably don't know because we haven't been learning it and we haven't taught it. So little secret there that it is Wow Month next month. So,
for that.
but look forward to seeing the trends of wow and the wonders of word trend next month.
Yeah, definitely.
Joking aside, we've started doing some plotting and planning. So yeah, I've been looking, and there's literally nothing out there on words at the moment, and I think it's also because the last couple of weeks I've had a few VA jobs or come in that have been sorting out all of the mistakes that people have been making in their Word documents.
Really?
let's start business and creating the content in there of all the mistakes, the befores and afterwards. So yeah, so that's the sort of a month. It might be over a couple of months, but anyway, so we've got a few shops.
Interesting.
Yeah, a few workshops planned, a few lunch and learn sessions. I think the trouble is at the moment I've got so many, trying to pick out 4 good key ones is the narrowing it down challenge at the moment. So yeah, so I tend to find I use other platforms to get some sort of research done, but then I tend to post on the other platform as the following and then put it on the business page. It's interesting because I use the different socials for different things, but it's all yeah, it's sort of it's a way of engaging and getting contact. So but yeah, it's been a trial and error to see what works and what doesn't work in the type of content that you do. But also what I've loved with regards in my way around the reels is by using animation on the presentations on my designs, it automatically converts it into a MP4 reel for me. So my way of getting around the I think it's the term is faceless reels, as literally using animation on my canvas. So yeah, I've had to go there, and a couple of videos I've made of not been IT related, but it's been interesting doing the video editing on that for the other profile I have with films and photos and videos. But yeah, so I've got a few things. I've got a couple of things in mind now, and my son's home from uni, so he's a film editor. So I said to him, right, I've got a few projects that I want to do over the holiday while you're get involved there. So that might help. So yeah, that was great. So I think there's loads more questions and we could be spending absolutely ages chatting on it. But I think probably the other one is just a few buzzwords, because we've talked quite a lot of jargon in this discussion so far, and obviously I know what you're talking about, but for other members of the group who aren't as say tech savvy as we are becoming, or I'm becoming, we've talked about algorithm. No, actually we haven't talked about algorithms, but what are algorithms, and what are reels, and what are a couple of those other keywords that you said, content pillars. So could you just do a little bit of a Q&A answer session for me on that, just to help those that are new to the terminology?
Yeah. So to start with, so the algorithm, it's often, posted on Instagram, the algorithm's changing, do this to beat the algorithm. So essentially, well, from what Instagram say, it is very much about how content is displayed within their feed. So they do often change it, and I think last year they brought in the new feature where you could actually view everybody who's posted sort of when they did it in order. So I suppose the best way to describe it is very much about people's preferences. So the algorithm will, I suppose, research what people are liking, who they're following, and show them content based on their preferences. So I suppose in social media, if you're engaging with one particular's content, that you're liking all their posts, they will almost be pushed to the top of your feed, so you will see them often. So it is very much about Instagram learning your behavior. So say for example, if I like 10 posts, it might show me 5 of them. So it is very much about, I suppose, a learning process for everybody. And it does change. There may be times when I think, oh, I haven't seen that person's post, so I will have to go on to them to look about it. So it is very much about when you post something, it might be shown to maybe 20% of your audience. If they engage with it, then they might show it to a few more. So Instagram, they are very, I suppose, private on this. They don't necessarily say this is what the algorithm is. It is very much about people figuring it out themselves. So I think speaking to a lot of my contacts and what I've learnt myself, it is very much about the algorithm is, I suppose, Instagram learning what you like, what you don't like, and they show you content based on that. I suppose that's the best way I can describe that one.
That's a good.
But again, it could change. It could change again, but I think that's probably the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, no, I go with that one. And I think the other one, going off at a tangent there, would be the followers. Are you creating content for your followers, or are you creating content for your audience? And the mixture of getting that confusing, especially across the different platforms, because the followers are different. So I think that's something else that could always be clarified, because, and then do you follow back the people that are following you? But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're your target audience. So that's
so, yeah. I think it is about what I think it's important, like you said, to define like the followers. People will follow you who don't necessarily, I suppose, have the aim to buy your product or service, but your audience is people who maybe not day one will buy from you, but you're almost taking them on that journey. So it's about nurturing your audience by showing them different post content and engaging with them. Because I think it's also important that even if you don't follow people back, there may be times when you like their content, you comment on it, and then maybe down the line you might forge that relationship and you might end up following, and there could be clients. So I always say to people, when you are creating content, it's about having that target audience in mind, but also have the target buyer, because your target audience could be millions of people, but your target buyer, could be maybe 10 people. So yeah, I think that's an important factor. And the other keyword, was it reels? So reels are, I think they're about like 2 years old now. So reels are technically the short videos that you'll see on Instagram. They will have some audio attached to it, and it will be people, I suppose, promoting their products, their services, their offers in a different way to your standard static post, carousel post, Instagram story. It will be people maybe showing their face, other people may just use graphics, it may be their products, their services. So what I like about reels is that they are short, they can be snappy, so you don't have to film maybe an hour's worth of content. You can choose to be in them as the owner, you may get your team involved, your staff involved in it, and it is just to being that bit different. So you could maybe choose to use a few transitions, you could use maybe you could speak on reels. So there's so much that you can do with them, but in short, they are the short videos that you'll see when you're scrolling past, and Instagram like to update them a lot. So there will be new features on there. You can add stickers to them, trending audio, they're increasing how long they are. So I think it will be a feature that Instagram will push and will only grow. So I think video content, I think it will be here to stay on Instagram particularly.
Hello and welcome back. Not quite sure what happened there, but that's the joys of technology. So part 2 of my interview with the wonderful Sarah from the Be Savvy Academy. So Be Socially Savvy Academy, let me get the word in right. So again, some of the things that I've been experiencing and that have been asked of me about how you use social media and what it can do for you on a personal basis and as a business basis. So again, to anybody watching who is new to using social media, not necessarily wanting to use it for business, how would you sort of say that it could enhance their life for personal use and for business use?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think that in terms of personal use, I think that, well, when I use Instagram for personal, it's very much, I think for me, it just increases my knowledge on on everything really. There's so many different accounts you can follow. So it just almost gives you awareness of everything, I suppose, that's going on in the world. You can follow, I suppose, inspirational accounts. You can follow accounts that you're interested in, such as hobbies. So for me personally, I will follow quite a lot of sports accounts, cooking accounts, fitness accounts, just to really, I suppose, consume content in an easy way. It may be on a night I'm just scrolling through and you can find yourself looking at, the strangest of things, but it does help you relax in a way.
Yeah.
So again, personally, you could even use it to promote your business to your friends, to your contacts. Did you know I was doing this? So it is a way. I think it can enhance your knowledge and skills, but I think it's also important to have the balance, so you're not on it for maybe 4 or 5 hours a day. For me, I just use it as a chance to unwind, maybe look at some random videos. I always found quite a lot of dog videos pop up at the moment. I'll watch one and then I found myself following an account of another one. But it is very random, but it is just a way to, I suppose, follow your hobbies, and you can watch short videos on cooking and you just learn things. And then I suppose business wise is very much about, you can promote your products and services in a way that's free. I think that, that is key. Obviously, there are aspects where you might need to pay for advertising, but for the majority of it, it is a free resource to promote your business to your target audience, to the mass market, in a way that once I think you've got the basics of it, it is easy to use, whether that is creating graphics, stories, and hopefully it will just further improve with the new resources coming out. So Instagram Reels are fairly new, and I think it'd be really interesting in the next few years to see what actually, is there going to be a new social media channel, or will they produce something else? So I think it is really exciting times.
Definitely. Yeah, and I totally agree with you. It's also very much from an IT perspective, because I have different profiles and I use the different profiles for different things. And going on to TikTok was one of the most recent ones I've done, and Pinterest. And actually, I'm amazed at how much following and material that I've gained from my Pinterest one, which is not even what I'm promoting on, but I've got a lot of stuff on there. And TikTok as well, actually, I've found that has been really informative and educational. I only went on because the other half went on, and some was on, I thought I'd better join in and see what's going on. But two different learning experiences gained completely different results. My husband didn't stay on it for very long because he thought it was a waste of time. I've actually found absolutely reams and reams and reams of information, because I've used it as a search engine. I've searched for, found, got, and a whole load of things even I didn't know. So for me, it's a great tool for learning what's going on, and seeing content. And from that, I've actually found people that are, again, posting on different platforms, like on the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. They've got, they're all over the place. So it's been quite good seeing how they're using the different platforms to promote their business as well. So yeah, I think the searching and what you're looking for is really key for this, because if you don't have a specific goal in mind or a target, it's like your internet browsing from all those years ago. You can go into a black hole and be on there for hours and not actually do anything. But if you have there for a specific goal and purpose, and it's using that knowledge, that certainly helps. And I think that's this is what's wonderful with working with you on projects, and it's you've got the expertise in that side of things, and then obviously I'm looking at it from a different perspective, and that's other areas where people are struggling knowing what to look for. So if we're looking on how to increase our social media marketing, follow Sarah. So, but yeah, that is a good one, and getting the life balance as well. And I don't know about you, how your thoughts on there, but as you said earlier in the first part of our interview, about the loads of information, it can be overwhelming. And again, I think one of the questions was, there's so much stuff coming in the content, especially on the Facebook feed, that's promoting and advertising for this, that, and the other. And if you click on something or you download something, obviously it's the lead magnets getting your email address, which everybody wants, especially when social media went down last year or Instagram went down. But it's also not falling into these black holes of taking you down somewhere and then getting into these things of, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You do need to sort of be aware of them. And I think that there's a load of good stuff out there, and I've got several people that do some fantastic posting content that's free and everything else, but obviously the other groups that you have to pay for, which is fine, you know, that is part of, you know, we do need to earn money there, as they say. So what 5 tips or 5 questions do you feel that you have been asked the most, that you would like to share today? Your top 5 tips for navigating the world of social media.
So I think the one that I'm nearly asked every day, I'll start with this one, is should I post every day? So people say that they've heard, oh, you need to post 7 days a week, and you know, you always need to have content. And I say, I think like posting 7 days a week is too much. I think that it can be overwhelming, and I don't think it's always necessary. I think what is really important is that social media, you could produce a post, and I think it's really important that some posts are timeless. I think it's important that it's not just, oh, well, I'm going to create this and tomorrow it'll be out of date. When you're sharing tips and tricks, you know, they could be relevant for months, because a particular, say, for example, oh, a key tip on Microsoft Word, you know, that is relevant for years. So I think, you know, it's not a case of, oh, I'm going to post every day, because you do lose your motivation. You know, if you sat down thinking, oh, I've got to do a reel, and then Tuesday I've got to post a carousel, and then Wednesday I've got to do this, you know, it's not feasible, because, you know, you've got to run your business as well. So my advice would be, again, try and test things. You know, you might start off posting 2 times a week, and then you think, oh, well, you know, I might need to post a reel one day, and then I won't post the next day because I'll engage with people, I'll send people, you know, messages, I like their content. And then the 3rd day you might think, oh, well, you know, I might do an Instagram story, or I might do another reel. So it is just trying and testing. So my advice would be that don't attempt to post every day unless you know you want to and it's working from you. Just try maybe 2 to 3 times a week. And you know, that does keep your motivation going. The second question, which is a common one, is which is the best time to post? So people say, you know, there must be a magic time to post. And I say, again, you know, there's not a set time for everybody. Everybody's business is different. We've all got different target audiences. So again, it is trying and testing. I know when I first started out, I did a morning post, and then I found that engagement wasn't particularly high. So I moved to an afternoon, just after dinner time, and I found that people were responding with my content more. So I did that. And then the week after, it dropped off again. So it is just, obviously people, it is worldwide. So when we're asleep in the UK, people are awake in other countries. So for me, it's not about posting at midday. It's not about posting at 1:30, 2:30. It is just about looking at your analytics, because they will show when people are most active, and then just seeing what works for your business, because every business is different. So for me, I've never found a set time. So that's quite a common question, which I do get asked a lot. I think the next one would be, is should I follow trends? And it's something which you picked up on earlier. People say, oh, you know, I've read this post and it says I should use this trend in audio, or, you know, I saw the Instagram reel and I should do it. And again, you know, you might do a couple of trends every month. You know, you might be thinking, oh, I really can't be bothered creating loads of content. I'm just going to, you know, hop on this trend, which is fine every now and again. But I think if you're always following it, then you don't necessarily stand out, because everybody's doing it and you're no different. So I would say don't hop on every trend, because you're not promoting yourself, you're not promoting your business the best that way. It's more important to focus on your target audience, your target buyer, and really speak to them that way. And I suppose that leads on to the next question is, are Instagram reels worth it? Should people invest their time within it? And again, I think it is important that people do feel comfortable with the content they're producing. You often see people say, no, you know, you need to show your face, you need to humanize your brand, you need to do this. And again, it can be uncomfortable for people. And I think there are ways to work around Instagram reels when you don't feel like you need to show your face. You know, you can show the products you're using, you can show the services. It may be that, you know, if you are an online business, you might just show a an overview of the project you're working on. It might be a Microsoft Word document. You know, I think what I've done previously, that I've just shown an overview of the Kajabi platform to promote the membership, and other times I have felt comfortable to show my face. But again, it is a work in progress, and my advice would be to just work up to it. I think like going full pelt into maybe a dancing reel is not for everybody.
No.
And people they'll be dancing on reels because that's what everybody's doing, and I say, well, no, because I don't feel comfortable doing that. So it is, I think it is just like setting the boundaries and just working with like what you find, you know, comfortable, because it's not easy to go on camera and promote yourself. You know, it does take time.
Yeah.
So it is about, you know, just learning and going with what feels right. And I think the last one would be hashtags. You know, this is something which Instagram like to change. People say, "Are hashtags worth it? Should I use it?" And I think they are still important, and I do find quite a lot of traction from them still. But I think you've got to have that strategy. I think it's not a case of, oh, I'm going to use the same 30 hashtags on every post. You've got to be breaking them down and thinking, right, well, I can use some location hashtags. So, for example, you know, like you could use Yorkshire photographer, Yorkshire baker. If you're based, you know, in a specific area, use your region to promote your business. Again, you might want to use some of the larger hashtags, such as, you know, IT skills, photography skills, baking skills, but do try and, you know, add your niche to it. Just going back to an example like photography, you could maybe use nature photographer, baking photographer, just to break it down. So again, I think hashtags, you know, we could talk on them for hours, but it is just very much about trying and testing and looking at, you know, the different ways to promote it. I think just going back to people say, oh, do hashtag work in Instagram stories? And I think that's something which I've not always found as useful. So I do try and keep them within the caption, within a reel. But yeah, I think they still have their place, but it is a case of just not being, I suppose, getting used to using the same ones. Do try and be consistent and use different ones. So I suppose they're the top 5 questions that I do get asked quite a lot on a daily basis.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. I'm very conscious we're going to run out of time, I think, very shortly. I'm not quite sure, I'm losing track of where we are now, but Sarah, it has absolutely been brilliant chatting to you today. It's been even more fun getting to talk to you with all the technical issues that we've had today. All the technical issues we've had today, and goodness knows what would have happened if we were actually doing this live. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and expertise and your time with us today. And I hope to chat to you again sometime.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Thank you for having me on. It's been fun.
It's been great. You've been amazing, and thanks very much. So, you know, anytime, you know, we can help and chat again, it'll be lovely to see. You never know, we've probably got some more sessions coming up. We probably will want your expertise again. So I'll let you know if we get some definites on that one. So, but anyway, thank you very much. Take care. All the best. Thank you.
Be in the spotlight is the place to be network driven. Business technology. Be in the spotlight is the place to be. Tech talk tips for free.